No time for an intro, here's an Armageddon captain and here are some bits. Let's go! I cut out all the bits of this lovely model and gently put away the bits holding device. Once carefully removed, I picked out the parts that I definitely won't need, like these pesky loyalist ones. But I will use this cape here. Actually, I start with this cape here. It is way too clean and intact for my taste. So I clipped off some edges and destroyed the parts of the cape that would touch the ground with my knife. For his legs I wanted to try something new, and for that it had to be as clean as possible. So off with all the loyalist symbols once again, using a freshly hobby knife and these sanding sponges. Once it was flat, I redefined the recesses between the shin guard and the kneecap guard, armor, whatsoever, and glued this part onto the rest of his leg. And of course the other one as well, to have a little more grip for the next part. Which is to remove the eagle and the cords from his chest. I actually like these cords, but I don't like the Aquila, so everything had to go for now. Again, same method here, a knife for the rough work and sanding sponges for smoothing it out. And because it will get messy again, let's say hello to the workhorse hobby mat. So I could cut away his arm and get the X because of this sawdust. Once I washed my hands, I went on with clipping these pushfoot rods away. By the way, rods sounds like the German word for snot, which is commonly used that something is bad. Make with that info what you want. I want to glue this thing onto his torso, hip, shoulder, and it was an absolute struggle to do so. I mean, it looks cool in the end and saves building time, but I'm not really the biggest fan of these. And now that we finally managed to push this mini into his fitting parts, I snipped off his backpack holding rod so I could give him this Chaos Legionnaires one, which instantly transforms him into a noteworthy being in my opinion. At this state I tried many things, as this was the time I decided what I wanted to do with him. I included some of my ideas that I thought are cool in this video as well. Hopefully you get some inspiration out of them. But coming back to my green stuff rolling fingers, I couldn't decide if I want a Dark Angel typical plasma pistol or a bolt pistol. Decided to go for the bolting one because if somebody has such a device, he sure means business in close combat. Or melee combat? Whatever, it's late at night, maybe I rewrite this part. And after I broke the fourth wall, I used my sculpting knife and a little bit of water to sculpt some of these Space Marine typical armor joints. And when that was dry, I gave him a Legionnaire's shoulder guard and went on with his other arm. Which is obviously an old world Chaos Knight's arm because I had an idea what to do at this point. I would ask you if you also have an idea, but I'm probably going to write it into the title of this video. For my next stunt I need some thin wire. I would have used a power drill, but it wasn't charged. So I had to do it by hand. And no, I won't do an adult joke now. Instead, I used this knife handle and tongs so I could pull it tighter. I eyeballed the bending of the soon-to-be cord here and tri-fitted it a couple of times before I cut it off. And after that I asked my helping hands here for some help, and he was nice enough to secure the miniature very steadily so I could glue this wire onto his chest. And after that I used this Horus Heresy bit to decorate it. As well as these two flash hooks because chaos is chaos. And now finally to the part I was the most excited about, the new leg. I know there are these half orbs one could glue onto these parts, but I wanted to try the hard way first. Sometimes I like a good challenge. What can I say? So I marked the place where I will drill a very small hole so I could place one of these small nail pearls into it. And I personally would go for something that goes from 2mm downwards. They usually come in many different sizes. Once I figured out where to place them using some Horus Heresy artwork as a reference, I did so, and having done that, I went on with this Chaos Star where I have absolutely no idea where it comes from. Please help. I cut it in half so it aligns perfectly with his backpack. And this is a great point to once again thank my wonderful channel members and patrons for your continued support. You truly are the pillars on which this channel is built on. I flattened the arms of the back module so that the star can sit flush on it. After all, it's nice when everything aligns properly. By the way, these helping hands surely are a step up in this craft. And with that, I am very close to finishing this miniature, topping it off with this hooded hat, but I promised you some more ideas, and here they come. I was honestly very close to build a Night Lord once again. Using the Grail from the Sanguinor and the Power Claw, in my opinion that would have looked absolutely amazing and characterful. Sticking with that Grail idea, why not a Knight of the Holy One? Like Miniature Painter L has done in his recent series, a Space Marine chapter going full King Arthur. So I love to give him credit for his amazing idea. And did you know that the lion has a surprisingly small head? It would fit onto a normal captain as well in my opinion, but I need that one for a future build. And what about an old world Chaos Warriors one? Maybe for a word bearer or something. But now let's paint a Fallen. I started with a mixture of Vallejo's Black, Wolf Grey, Dark Rust and Dark Sea Blue as a foundation for his armor. I like to mix some colors to create different hues of black, making the armor look more interesting instead of flat. If I mix more colors into the foundation, it won't have this known reddish or bluish tint in the end, but a mixture of both, which again creates variety. And I mixed more and more Wolf Grey into it to create the first highlights. When that was done, I painted his cape using mostly dark rust and a tiny amount of black. I also mixed some elfic flesh into it, spreading it across the cape to give it a more fabric-like look. After everything was dry, I used a 50-50 mix of elfic flesh and dark rust to highlight the cape and the hood. I also sprinkled in some dots and lines to indicate some scratches. For shoulder, kneecap as well as the scabbards, I used magenta as an undercoat for the soon-to-be gory red, just to lay a foundation. And after that, obviously the gory red. And now it's time to paint the trim. I went for my beloved dark bronze for it, since I trust this paint to always do the job. But I didn't want solely golden parts everywhere, so all the other metallics were painted with Vallejo's silver. And before we come to the shading part, I quickly painted the base, forgot that I could use some texture paint as well, applied them afterwards because why not? It just works fine. I like to mix texture paint and normal paint anyway. In this case it's dark green and dark sea blue and a little bit of elfic flesh to create brighter highlights of said colors. And once it was dry, I went over the golden-like metallics with a watered down jade. After that I used Vallejo's Game Wash Black to shade the metallics and the base with it. By now it was about 1 AM in the morning, but I wanted to get this done, so of course let's dress the eyes with some checkboard patterns and other freehands. And after all that was done, I only gave the base some highlights with brighter hues of dark green and called the miniature done. But before we come to the reveal, here are some nice things that my community over on Discord created. I am honest, I had no idea what to do with this LED when I started the build. And while trying out some stuff, I went with something I haven't done already, and now I hope you like it. If this video is doing well, I think I will do some more Fallen, maybe a kill team or something. I haven't painted black for a while and I realized just how much I like it, so maybe we could create a loyalist chapter soon. I have some ideas and currently building something hopefully once again really unique, but only time can tell. Up until this point, I once again want to remind you to leave a like or a comment so that the loyalists may also see this video and get convinced that we do nice things here over at the truth-seeking site as well. And if you like this type of content and like to support this channel, feel free to subscribe or become a member or Patreon. Either way, thank you for watching and we are going to see each other in the next one.